the fear of yes rather than a no.
Oh my God, it's the biggest thing. Like when I first started coaching, people are like, David, I don't know what to say to a for sale by owner. I taught them what to say, and then they weren't making calls. And I'm like, help me understand why you're not making the calls. And they're like, well, what if someone says, yes, I've never done a listing presentation. I don't know how to pre-qualify. I don't know how to sit down and go over the comparables. I don't know how to close for the listing. So a lot of times with agents, it's the fear of the yes, someone saying yeah, and knowing that you don't know how to show up is the fear of regret. And if you want to just really understand what that means, take an afternoon to go to a nursing home and talk to people in their 80s and 90s. And the biggest thing they will tell you is they let fear keep them from doing the thing. And now they're sitting and they can't do anything. And all they do is regret all they didn't attempt to do. And so you have those conversations enough, you'll start recognizing, what do I have to lose?
We know all real estate agents want to acquire clients consistently so that they can grow their business and income for that great lifestyle. This broadcast brings you the best and top people in the industry to support that quest. This is Dave Fanale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and Align, your premier real estate solution. Hey, and we're back. So here we are. It's Real Estate Talk TGIF. We are so excited today. We have my friend David Radney talking about his new book, I Want It More Than I Fear It. So look, everybody, look, this is a guy that once feared public speaking. He once let a health scare betray his own body, but now makes a living teaching others to stare down fear and command their destiny. He's flipped fear into fuel, turned role play into royalty, helped agents across the country push past their limits. From humble real estate deals to coaching millions in production, he created a system called Push. And now he's distilled everything he's learned into his new book, I Want It More Than I Fear It. And let's remember this one thing that I'm once saying I love. Fear holds most people back. Desire propels the rest forward. David Radney, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you. I got to bring you with me anytime I speak so you can open up for me, man. I love that. That was awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome, man. I'd be glad to do it. I'd be glad to do it. So, David, every broadcast, we're going to talk about this book and we're going to get going. But I got to ask you the first question. You know what that question is? It is, what does TGIF stand for?
And I know it.
Third time you've been on the broadcast, and you should know this.
Fanale.
Thank God it's Fanale. Right.
I knew it, and I just had a brain fart when you asked me, so it's just fine.
Well, Dave, thank you so much for being on the broadcast today. And we're heavy into the third quarter of 2025. Today is October 3rd, 2025. And you got a lot of these people out there, Dave, talking about finish strong, 100 days strong, and you got all these great coaches pushing this, and well, they should, right?
Yes.
And there's the motivation, there's fear. I did a video this morning talking about how emotion and logic should work together during your day, and how emotion is such a great thing when you get up in the morning, you get going, then you sit down and make that call. It's like, oh shit, right? So I want it more than I fear it, right? So, Dave, talk to me about the book. Talk to me about how your life generated this book.
Oh my goodness, man. So where do I start? I will really speak on the thing that really had the biggest impact on me, Dave. And that's just my fear of public speaking held me back in my professional career before I got into real estate when I was in corporate America working for Kaplan Test Prep. And, I was being tapped to be promoted, and I self-sabotaged those promotions because I knew that meant I had to get in front of a group. I had to talk. I had to run sales meetings, and I did not have it in me. Dave, I was a guy who would stand up in front of two people. Papers are shaking. My voice is shaking.
Oh, man. I know that.
Hot mess. And I got tired of it. I got tired of not having the opportunities because I was getting in my own way. And I knew that other people had the same issue and they got over it. So I started seeking out how to do that and found Toastmasters, and it really helped me get out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
It really did.
It's I know exactly how that feels. I remember I'm going to go back 40 years, more than 40 years, when I had to talk and testify in front of a zoning board in a local town for a property we wanted to develop. And I couldn't believe how nervous I was. Then the next time I had to go on, I had notes and I read from my notes and I didn't sound practiced. I sounded like I was reading. And I said, I got to know this shit. And I just I know it, you know what you've got to do. It's
Right.
just that the nerves and it's fear. I don't know if sitting down is more about fear. Obviously it is, because it all comes back as, what are they going to think about me? Right. What, all that shit. Right. No matter what you're doing, like it's for instance, performance. Okay. So I'm going to use a sports example. Okay.
Right.
What did we see last night in the Bronx? We saw a 24-year-old that barely had half of a year in baseball, in Major League Baseball, throw 8 innings of shutout pitching, one of the best performances ever in the playoffs for the New York Yankees.
Wow.
Cam Schlittler, right? And you could just see, he just knew what he had to do. There was no fear in his face. He just went after it and did it. So talk to me about the book. Talk to me. I want it more than I fear it, as we saw last night. And we see in everyday life, the fear.
Well, let me tell you this. First of all, you didn't see the fear. It doesn't mean the fear wasn't there. And when you think about people like Beyonce, she still has stage fright. She has an alter ego.
Yes.
That you channel so that you can push past the fear. So what I will tell people, man, you brought it up earlier, and I think it's a perfect point. Logically, we all know what we need to be doing. If you're a real estate agent, it's no secret that you need to be on the calls, right? You need to be making calls. You need to be going on appointments. You need to be having conversations, all the things. Logically, we know that. It's the fear that keeps us from doing it. So logic, right. You think, emotion makes you act. So the way you conquer the fear, the way I conquered the fear was I had to tap into something greater than me. Like, what am I doing this for? And when I don't do it, what am I keeping myself from being able to accomplish? Not just personally, but also professionally. So it's tapping into your why on the high level. And that's what I did. That's how this book came to fruition. It's because I was able to push past the fear and go after my why, and the why got me moving.
Man, it's just like you hit alter ego, and there's so many people out there that perform at such a high level that have that. And we're not going to get into that right now, because we're here to talk about. We're trying to talk about the fear. People channel their fear through that alter ego. Right. I can go endless with the list of people that I know have alter egos, and I've even tried to build my own, because I have the fears too, right? We talked about that the other day. I've got fears in different things. I have fear of judgment, right? But you know what? To me, I look at it like when I was in 3rd grade or 4th grade, right? When a new kid came to school, I just wanted to say hello to them. And I remember doing it. Hi, my name's Dave. What's yours?
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't fear. It was just, I don't know. I was a little bit, look, I'm the youngest of 8 kids. My brothers tell me that I have this weird gene where it allows me to do shit like I'm doing right now. And they never did any of it. They're not outgoing. They're very introverted, very successful 7 brothers and sisters that I have. But, it's a little different for me. I've been doing video for 17 years before I even knew what video was. But I didn't have to do it in front of people, and then getting on stage.
Mm-hmm.
So your public speaking got you going. Talk to me about the next steps.
Yeah, and I would just say this: I'm highly introverted too, so I get that. People see me up here speaking and doing the things I do. I am an introvert too. So
me
let me
too. Go ahead.
Right? This book, if I can just be honest with you, and I haven't shared this with you, the fear made me unpublish this book. I published it, and then I sat back and I was like, what am I doing? I'm not an author. Like, who's going to...
Imposter syndrome.
Thank you. I couldn't get it out. I had that, man. And I really had a chance to see what it felt like. I went back in and unpublished the book, Dave. That's
really?
I did. That's why it took so long to come out. I started talking about it, and then I never published it. It took me about 2.5, 3 months to go back in and actually publish it. Isn't that something?
Shit. Oh man.
And
the first thing that comes to my mind is, what's wrong with you, man?
I'm human. And the reason why I talk about it is I'm not up here. I'm with everyone else, and I go through the same fears and doubts that everyone else goes through. I think the difference is, when you want it more than you fear it, is that you show up and you do it anyhow. And when you continue to show up, the death of fear is certain when you face it. So if you just face it every single time, it starts going away slowly. It doesn't always go away completely. I still get the butterflies. However,
Right.
I can manage them.
Yeah, so I've read the book. I understand the book, and what I love about this book, David, is that it talks about the fear of beginning and end. And this book is a freaking blueprint. I
Oh, man.
mean, yeah, we can read the Red Book, and we can read all these other books, and Alter Ego and Hook and Listing Boss and all those things.
That's
But
right.
you've got to get through the different things, and the steps you bring everybody through in this book is what their business should freaking look like, right?
I completely agree with you. It is the blueprint. If you do these things at a high level every single day, you will have success.
There's no question about that. We talk about, okay, so the biggest fear that's always in front of me is this fear of picking up the phone and making the calls, right? Because we have fear of judgment,
Right.
right? And all the time, right in front of us, because of social media and technology and all the shit we get to see every day, we see these guys, you're cold calling, you're out of your mind. Don't call. I used to do that. I don't do it anymore. The guy built his business in 10 years of cold calling, and all of a sudden he's doing something else, got a product to sell, right?
Right.
There's so many people that are in your freaking pockets. Let's remember, the best teams, the best agents are still doing it. They're still getting through their fear every day by picking up the phone.
Because it
Talk to me
works.
about your process of getting started there.
Picking up the phone.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man. What's funny, and I'll send you a video later on. I just looked at some video when I first started calling, and you could see my chest, just the nerves. You could tell how nervous I was making these calls. But here's the thing, man. I'll tell you the Reader's Digest version of it. I was going to all the classes, reading all the books, listening to all the webinars, but I wasn't taking action until my coach said something to me that completely changed the way I showed up. He said, essentially, Dave, every time you don't do this, you're disrespecting your wife. She's working so hard at her business, and then you aren't doing the activities to make money. You're doing the busy stuff all agents do. That's why you gain 50 pounds. You're at every broker eating all the food, but you're not making the calls and doing the activities. And when he said you're disrespecting your wife, that clicked. Now I know my why, right? Logically, I knew I needed to make the calls. My why became, I will never disrespect my wife. I will never go back to the office and not pick that phone up out of fear. I'll do it afraid. I'll get hung up on. I'll get cursed out on. And I will continue to make calls every day, because every day I don't do it, I'm disrespecting her. That's how I got started. That was the why.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people out there. I'm not going to use any names, but a lot of people have said that what they do is they share their goals with their kids. And their kids, and I know you did the same thing.
Yeah, I
shared,
did.
and they are the hardest accountability partner there is. Talk to me about that part.
Yeah, and listen, if you want to be held accountable, tell your kids and tie some finances to it. So my daughters knew that if I didn't come home with a lead sheet filled out that I hit my contacts, there was a monetary benefit to them. So they were asking me when I walked in the door, hey, did you make your calls? Right? Because they wanted that money, and I'm cheap. I didn't want to give it to them. And I also didn't want to disappoint them, because they're looking at me like, how is my dad showing up every day? If I show up with excuses, then they're going to make excuses. So I had to put the work in. And Dave, I'll tell you, the biggest benefit to this was then they became part of the process. When I got a listing, I take the whole family out to dinner and we celebrate. So those evenings when I wasn't home because I was at a listing presentation, they got the reward from that, because we would come home and go out to dinner as a family to celebrate me getting that listing. So they were holding me accountable, and at the same time, they were getting a chance to bask in the rewards of all the hard work.
So in essence, David, it wasn't just you doing the work, it was your family doing the work. This is a family business.
It is a family business. I didn't really think of it that way. Yes, it is, though.
Right? So, I mean, I know guys that have said, look, when daddy gets this, we can go to Disney. There's people talking about agent attraction, right? I remember someone said, when I get 250 in my downline, we're going to Disney for a week. And they would say, how many contacts you have to make, daddy, every day to get those? And it's like, I got to have 25 contacts. Daddy, did you make your 25 contacts? Okay. So let's get back into the book, right? So we talk about fear. We talk about everything else. Talk to me about pieces of life that you used aside from the motivation factor with the kids and health. Talk to me about your health and how you got some some punches there too. Talk to me about the motivation that others can use to build on the fear and use the fear.
So when I talked about my health in the book, and I vacillated on whether or not I should put that in the book, and yet I wanted to show people a little bit of me outside of real estate, like what I dealt with and what I went through. And so with the weight gain, Dave, I was almost 300 pounds at one point in time, right? I'm
Show that picture in the book, man.
I know. And did you recognize me? Because I don't recognize me.
Well, yeah, I did, because I know you, so I knew what I was looking at. You know,
Right.
it's like, it's, you know what? Here, I'm gonna equate it to David Goggins and the pictures in his books.
Yes.
Okay.
So what I will tell you about this book, man, when it comes to life, this is not just about real estate. It's about pushing past limits to succeed. And I think the biggest thing that I had to understand, and the way I brought life into it, was understanding that we always say, I'm scared, I'm fearful. And we just have to change the narrative and the script that we play in our head, Dave. The script is not that I'm afraid and I'm fearful. The script is I'm excited about this opportunity, because you feel the same way when you're excited as you do when you're afraid. And so whatever the opportunity is in life, whether it's to speak, to call somebody on the phone, to go on an appointment, to write a book, to stand up in front of a large room of people, I'm excited about this. And I think if more people started using that type of vernacular when they talk about life, they're excited versus them being afraid, they're going to show up differently for that opportunity. And that's what I always tell people, whether I'm coaching or we're talking about life. It's all about reframing how you talk to yourself. That's the most important thing.
So let's get into that really and get a little granular with it. So you've got an agent. Let's use me, right? I go to my list. I'm going to make a phone call, whether it's a follow-up call or a for sale by owner call. And let's use follow-ups, because follow-ups are probably the most important thing, where I know even this year I missed some follow-ups that cost me money.
Yeah, right? I'll do. Same.
So I'll get to the phone, and completely transparent here, I get to the phone and says, you know what? I talked to them last week. I'm going to leave them alone.
Right.
How do I push through that fear?
Well, if it's actually a fear, right, versus making excuses for not picking up the phone.
Making excuses for not picking up the phone is what I just did.
Yep. It. I want it more than I fear it. The thing is, how do you push past it, is understanding what it means to you. And I don't think a lot of people really get, I want it more than I fear it, and coming up with a big why and having something that's bigger than you. And when it's bigger than you, it makes you move. It makes you take action. And it's not about how you feel. It's, I've made this commitment. This is something I want. This is something that's important to me. I'm going to do the activities no matter how I'm feeling, because my why is big enough and it drives me to do the work.
So what I'm hearing is with the word it. So if we were to write down what it means in both places, would that be a help?
I think it would be a help.
Yeah. So with I want it. Okay, guys, what do you want? Okay. More than I fear it. What's that it? What do you fear? Someone yelling at you, someone hanging up on you, the fear of speaking on stage. What is it, right? And that's really important. So in the book, David, you talk about a process, right? You talk about a process of building your business through coming into an area where you did, when you came from Texas to New Jersey, you didn't know anybody.
Right.
And you got going with, you just started talking to people. You started going to broker opens and all that other stuff. Talk to me about that process and what an agent can do to restart and get unstuck.
So one thing you got to do is you have to be out there every single day. And there's certain activities that we should be doing as real estate agents every day, right? Practicing our scripts, getting on the phone, making phone calls, doing follow-up, previewing property, going on appointments. We got to be out there. So for an agent that feels really stuck, one thing I will tell you is if you need more business, and most agents that I know need more business, we got to go out, Dave, and we got to have more conversations. We cannot be hiding. So we have to do the things like going to broker opens and having conversations. But the biggest piece that I think most agents miss, Dave, is they don't understand that when they're living their life every single day, money is walking right past them, and they are not taking the opportunity to reach out and have those conversations. What do I mean by that, Dave? I was known for going to the ATM. I need $20. I'm going to the ATM. Well, when I moved to New Jersey, I didn't know anyone. The ATM is not buying a house. I had to get out of my comfort zone around talking to people and start going into the bank and being purposeful about talking to the tellers and the bank managers, giving my card and telling them who I am and what I do. And then here's the thing, this one question: who do you know that I should be talking to right now about buying, selling, or investing in real estate that I can help? I ask that question of every single person I come in contact with.
But Dave, I mean, don't we sound corny when we're doing that to people we barely know, or just like go to the teller of a bank? Hey, look, man, this is what I do. Who do you know that I should be talking? I mean, doesn't how do you, I mean, that's kind of like forward, isn't it?
It's very forward. Here's the question: how bad do you want it? If you want it, I don't mind sounding a little corny. I bet I was really corny talking to my wife, but 25 years later, here we are, right? What I will tell you though is it's about how you serve it up. And so I would put a bit of a spin on it just to make people want to work with me and help me. People always want to help you, Dave. So it's something like, hey, Dave, I just want to share this with you. I have a personal goal of helping 30 families this year buy a home, and I'm not on track for my numbers. So I was just curious if you could help me. Who do you know that I should be talking to right now about buying, selling, or investing so I can hit that goal for this year? And people always want to help you win. You're not asking them directly, so it takes a lot of pressure off. You're not saying, do you want to buy, sell, or invest? You're saying, who do you know? And when you frame it that way, if they're interested, they'll raise their hand and say me, but more than likely, they'll refer you to someone that can actually be a potential client for you.
I want to really emphasize a really important point. Everybody out there who's just been watching this, stop this video and reel it back a minute. And what I want you to hear is the one word that was never used. He never asked or used the word referral in his conversation. Never asked for referral. He says, who do you know that I can help? Right? I want you to think about helping people rather than, hey, look, you see this as well as I do. Hey, I'm always welcome a referral. You know, it's like, I just want to throw up when I see that, you know, or hear that, right? We see it all the time.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that, I mean, okay, they're going to get the referral. They'll get some referrals, they get some business, but they're not going to excel. So what's the difference, Dave? What's the, from what's in the book to build your business? What's the difference between that type of agent and that type of business to excelling and getting through the fear, as well as what's the process? What do you have to do aside from just picking up the phone, or is that all there is to it?
Well, picking up the phone and having the conversations is a big part to it. You know the name when I say Zig Ziglar, right? You know, I know
Yep.
you. He said something that changed my life. And I think if most agents approach real estate this way, they would take their business through the roof.
What way, Dave?
Yes. When you help enough people get what they want, you always get what you want. So Dave, of course we want to get paid. We want to have a great year and make all this money in real estate. The way we do that is not making it about us. It's, how can I serve? Who do you know that I can talk to? How can I help you? What are you looking to do by selling this home? What does that mean for your family? What does it mean if you can't sell this home and you're still here in a year? And when you find out and you make it about them and you really lean into solving their problems, it's funny how a paycheck pops up. That's all you need to do.
So follow me here and let me know if I'm oversimplifying this. So let's use an example of an agent that really needs a paycheck, really needs to get money, and you know he's got some savings and he's starting to go through his savings, but he really needs a paycheck.
Yep.
And every time he picks up the phone, it's like, I need this. Can I come over and list your house? Instead of saying, you know, once they're picking up the phone and they're dialing the number, they have to transform themselves and say, okay, they get on the phone. How can I help you? Do you have to exude that? Or is that salesy, or is that cheeky? Is that corny? What is it?
I don't think it's corny. When you're picking up the phone, you're like, I need this listing. The seller smells that on you. It's called commission breath. They can tell all you want is a paycheck. So what I do, and this may look corny, but I'm taking my sales hat off right now. And I would say to myself before I got on the phone, I am not asking for an appointment until I really understand their motivation, like 5 layers deep. Not that they have to sell by June, but they have to sell by June because this is important and this is what it will mean to them. And this is how they'll feel when they get there. Like, I really want to understand that. So when I get on the phone and I'm coming from curiosity and I'm asking questions and getting them to talk and open up, they're going to tell you everything you need to know to sell them when you take the time to not make it about you. Everyone has a problem. Your job as a realtor is to solve the problem. You can't solve it if you don't know what it is. So if you take that approach on the phone, people are, Dave, I can't even tell you how many appointments I went on for sell by owner or an expired, and the spouse would say, I don't know how you got in here because my wife wouldn't let nobody get in the house and you're here. Like, what did you say? Dave, I didn't say anything. I just asked questions and I listened. And when they would start talking, instead of trying to close, I would say, well, tell me a little bit more about that. Oh, why is that important? Like, I would just dig into it and they would tell me everything.
Right.
That's it.
And you know what? This comes with, it does come with practice. It does come with exposure. And what I mean by exposure is exposing yourself to the right people to talk to the right people. I mean, anybody can call me up and have a conversation with me about doing it. You have 2 sessions a week. Tell me about those 2 sessions because I want to plug those a little bit.
So the 2 sessions that you're referring to are my script practice calls. And this is something I do on Zoom, and I do live stream it on Instagram Live as well. And I do it for free, Dave, because when I started, I didn't have any support. No one was helping me learn script. So I figured I would pay it back and bring people in. So what I do on Wednesday evenings, we do script practice. Wednesday is slowing it down, and we go through the scripts, but we talk about why we say what we say so people can really learn and build a foundation. Friday, we're rapid fire. Let's go through these scripts. You call a FISBO and they say, just bring me a buyer. I'm not interested in listing. What do you say in 90 seconds to create an opportunity? This is the saw that people need to sharpen. This is that one skill set that's going to get you paid. You need to be practicing it really every day. Bare minimum, I have this call twice a week. You should be on that twice a week. You really should be practicing every day though, Dave.
Right. And one of the excuses, well, who am I going to practice with? I mean, I know people, there's people all over the place with practice, but I'm going to give somebody else. There's one thing that I use is I actually have an AI application that I use. Yeah. And it gives me all different scenarios and it gives me difficulties, et cetera. I've been using it for a couple of months. I really love it because I don't have to do it with a person. I don't have to have that fear. And it gives me the feeling that I can do what it is because it analyzes what I said after the call, right? The other thing is a lot of people will stop and not make the calls because they're not happy with the script they have in front of them. I mean, is it just use any script or do you have to be comfortable or do you have to feel okay about what you're going to say?
In the beginning, every script I've ever learned, I didn't like. I never picked up one script and I was like, this is it. It's all about doing this one thing, Dave, that I teach in my push training program, internalizing the script. Because once you internalize it and you know the script verbatim, you make it your own. You deliver anything. And so it becomes yours. You own it. And so it's not the script. It's you trying to memorize it versus internalize it. You trying to read it versus internalize it. It's not the script. I can use any script and get business because I make it mine. That's the key.
Right. And everybody's got to realize that you have your own way of talking. And, you know, and look, if you have access to another agent, a coach, a mentor, or someone that you can go and do calls next to, like physically next to, you've got to do that. Yes. Because I do it. I mean, at least 3 days a week, I have agents next to me that are doing scripts and they feel comfortable. And I say, well, what's your success rate with that script? And I say, well, why don't you try this and change this word to that? And they go, oh, I never thought about it. They didn't think about it because they looked at what others were doing and they copied them. Right. They didn't model successful agents. They copied what others were doing just so they could say that shit doesn't work. Mm. Right. So, and I've seen that all the time. So here's another fear. I want to talk about this other fear, the fear of yes rather than a no.
Oh my God. It's the biggest thing. Like when I first started coaching, people are like, David, I don't know what to say to a for sale by owner. I taught them what to say. And then they weren't making calls. And I'm like, help me understand why you're not making the calls. And they're like, well, what if someone says, yes, I've never done a listing presentation. I don't know how to pre-qualify. I don't know how to sit down and go over the comparables. I don't know how to close for the listing. So a lot of times with agents, it's the fear of the yes, someone saying yeah, and knowing that you don't know how to show up. And I would say it's malpractice if you don't know how to show up. You should not be practicing on your paycheck, going to meet a seller, and you've never done the listing presentation as practiced before. It's malpractice.
Yeah, I mean, people say, you know, I remember, you know, when I first went to college and, you know, I fenced and I was right away started the first match. And, the coach called it baptism by fire, right? Just like I've never competed on the collegiate level before. And here I am, a freshman, 18 years old going out. It was probably my best day of 4 years of fencing in college, but, you have baptism by fire. And I don't want agents to do that. Right. I want you to practice. I want you. One of the things, Michael Hellickson, Club Wealth guy, says the biggest problem that agents have is they're not practiced. I mean, I'm sorry, Greg Harrelson says that. Greg Harrelson, you're not practiced. Okay. You got to practice. You can't go out there and practice in front of a listing presentation. You can't do that.
You cannot.
Right. And I know there's coaches out there who say, look, you got nobody to practice with. Call expires and practice on the first two that you call, and then be ready to go on the third one. Does that make sense to you?
I'd rather see you do that than not do anything, because here's the thing. It makes sense to me for this reason. A lot of times you can't find a role play partner. Well, now we have AI technology, so that's not really an excuse anymore. And yet sometimes with an expire or even a for sale by owner, you just happen to call at the right time. They may have just had a weekend where things didn't happen. The buyer who said they were going to come back and make an offer never made the offer, and they are sitting there having dinner and they're like, yeah, I don't know if this is really working out. Maybe we need to look at something different. And you just happen to call, and you call at the right time. And so I don't have an issue with that. However, I will tell you that ideally you want to be practicing with other people, because if you're practicing on your paycheck, you may not be able to get that opportunity, and you're wasting a lot of time where you could have really taken the time to practice with another agent and get down what to say and how to say it. However, I did that. I make calls. I'll call FSBOs and expires for practice all the time.
I think I practice is the number one thing that we don't do. I'm just going to go to another Yankee example. Is Derek Jeter, his first year in professional ball, made 56 errors. And we looked at the majority, the one with the most errors in Major League Baseball this year was also a Yankee, and he had 19, right? Wow. That was the most in the major leagues. 20 might have been, but that's a lot of errors. He made 56 in his first year pro ball. He didn't quit. He just kept practicing and practice. Well, he had a great accountability partner known as his dad. His dad said, no, you're staying and you're going to practice and you're going to practice and you're going to practice.
For sure.
First ballot Hall of Famer. Okay. I think every agent out there with practice can be a first ballot Hall of Famer as well. Right.
Of course they can. Michael Jordan, that kid on his high school basketball team. So just know that, right? He practiced and where he is now. So yeah.
Right. And I was a collegiate athlete. I was a varsity athlete 4 years. I didn't make the fencing team in high school my first year.
Okay.
Right. So I pushed forward. I knew what I wanted, and I did it because I just happened to say, hey, shit, this is something I could do. This is something that looks like a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing it over the years, and still want to do it. My legs don't want to let me do it, but I still want to do it. So, David, I want it more than I fear it. Tell me, do you use that yourself today, even after the book and after your success and as you travel through life?
I use it every single day. Like right now, I'm in the midst of, creating a new training program, and it's making me really uncomfortable. And I'm being invited to come out and speak in front of hundreds of groups of people. And it's very uncomfortable. And I do it anyhow because I want it. The it for me is, and I'll just be transparent, I haven't said this to a lot of people, Dave. I was talking to my wife one night and I was like, how you doing? She goes, I just need a break. Like I'm really grinding. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not grinding as hard as I can. And I know she would never take a break, but I know she's not taking a break because I'm not doing as much as I could where she feels comfortable that she could take a break. That's I want it. I want her to feel comfortable that she can slow down. And so I want that more than I fear any of these things that are showing up in my business every day. And I just bust through like the Kool-Aid man. I'm like, oh yeah, let's go get it because I'm doing it for her. And I'm disrespecting her if I don't put it in and push past the fear. And I'm disrespecting myself too. Why wouldn't I do it? Why wouldn't I go for it?
I can really simplify this, and I don't want anybody to think it's really simple, but our fear, if we look at our fear on one side and we talk about where we want to get on the other side, and that big word, a 3-letter word called why, I think if you take another word and say instill love, as your reason, right? So that's your why, always has been your why. Family, you talk to your wife, and that's now what's pushing you forward to get over your fear. For
Well,
me, it's the same thing. We talked the other day about my why. We talked about why I do things. And I've had trouble figuring that out over the last few years. And I'm getting to the point where I really understand it and really want to push forward. You know what? We've all had ups and downs in our lives and ups and downs in income. And we just have to look at, what do we really want? I've got a lot of experience, and people say it's wisdom. You know what? The imposter syndrome starts hitting me at that time when they say, Dave, talk to me about this and what you experienced. Look, I've been through, let's see, the end of the 70s and 80s, the end of the 80s, the 90s, 9/11, 2008, and the last few years. So I kind of been through a few things that I've seen and
Yep.
seen how they panned out and what's happened. I will tell you today, I've never seen before. I don't know where it's going to end up. I think it's going to end up good, like it always does.
Right.
But the point is that there's always fears of a lot of different things. And, we have to worry about the positive and the negatives. And there's a lot of different people out there that have different kinds of fears. So we've got new agents, we've got stuck agents, and we've got top producers that want to keep going. And then we have the people that, I'm getting tired. So give me an idea of that new agent, that stuck agent, all the realm of that, what I just talked about, and the fears that they're going to go through. And is it just the same thing we've been talking about, how to get through it?
It's the same thing we're talking about, and it's the same thing on how to get through it. And I will tell you, the biggest fear, Dave, and I know you know this already, is the fear of regret. And if you want to just really understand what that means, take an afternoon to go to a nursing home and talk to people in their 80s and 90s. And the biggest thing they will tell you is they let fear keep them from doing the thing. And now they're sitting and they can't do anything. And all they do is regret all they didn't attempt to do. And so you have those conversations enough, you'll start recognizing, what do I have to lose? I'm still here. I'm still standing. All the things I was afraid of and I pushed through, I'm still here. So why not this? Because I don't want to be writing.
I want everybody to think about that. The fear of the feeling of discipline is far better than that feeling of regret. I mean, I want everybody to look at themselves in the mirror now and think about where I said, where's October 3rd? We've got less than 3 months to go in the year. We're in the last quarter. What are you going to say on December 30th, 31st? What are you going to say on January 6th? Do now. Go now. Now is better than the other time. They say, when was the best time to plant the tree 20 years ago? No, it's today. Right. And there's so many ways to get around it. I mean, talk about some of the processes in the book that you talk about that are guaranteed to be successful. Talk to me about process of meeting people and building your business.
So what I will tell you, the things in this book that I talk about that will be guaranteed success, is that you have to understand, and this is something I'm speaking to people who want to go after listings, but even if you're not going after listings and you just want clients and you're doing a buyer presentation or you're doing a seller presentation, if I could tell you one thing that might change the way you show up, is that it's not a listing presentation. It's a listening presentation. And as agents would just learn to stop trying to say the thing that will get them to work with you. You're so busy thinking how to serve this up and convert. You're not listening. If you just listen, they would tell you everything that you needed to know if you were asking the right question. So listen is what I would say.
Yeah, no, I love that because it is a listening presentation. And it's so funny you bring that up. I've said that all the time. And I think that is, if you're getting the appointments and not getting the transactions and not getting that signature, it's because you're not doing the right conversion. That conversion comes from listening, right? Listen. Yeah, it's just amazing. You know what? I mean, the book, I read the book. I really like the process. I really like how it's set up. It's just a matter of so many different things that people have to get through. I mean, David, what's the toughest objection you've ever had to overcome?
It may seem simple. It seems simple now, but it wasn't back then. It was people asking me to reduce my commission because at that time I was newer in real estate and I really didn't believe that I was worth what I was asking for. I didn't really know my value at that point in time. So it was hard for me to overcome that objection because in my head I was like, Well, yeah, I do it for 5. I mean, I'm new. Like, why wouldn't I do it for 5? So that was a bit of an issue.
So that one. What about do you have a buyer? Bring a buyer and I'll give you 2%.
I never really had a hard time with that one because to me, all they were telling me was they are willing to pay a commission. And all I wanted was somebody who was willing to pay a commission. I don't care what it was and who it was to. The fact that I knew you were willing to open up and pay a commission, that gave me a way to get in. So the easiest way to handle that is, oh, I'm happy to hear you're looking at working with agents. You know, my job as a local agent is to know all the inventory. I have not seen your home, so I'm gonna stop by either tonight at 5 or tomorrow at 7 to see it. Like that one is easy. Don't let that get to you. Like whatever they say, just brush it off because we know from stats, 90% of for sale by owners end up listing. So no matter what they say, they're going to list. Hell, the owner of forsalebyowner.com, when he sold his house, he listed with an agent. I don't know if you know that, Dave, but he listed with an agent. So even the owner of the company who's telling all these people, don't hire an agent, save your money, pay me, use an agent when he sold his house.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's it's funny when you listen to this, they're going to list, and if you let them get over on you, you've listened to them, and that's why you don't make that follow-up call, like I was talking about earlier. That's one of the things you stop from doing. Talk to me about one of the things I talked about with a lot of agents I work with is I talk about their schedule and I talk about planning and everything else they have to do. You have a certain process. I have a certain process. I love what you do. I love how you got it set up, which I want you to talk about. My objective always is for agents to relieve themselves of anxiety when they look at their schedule. Talk to me about your process. Talking about what you do, the day off, the 137. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. And what I will tell you is that we get overwhelmed with our schedule because if you look at our schedule, it's all about everyone else. It's about your clients. It's about going to team meetings and trainings. It's about taking your kids back and forth to soccer. It's about date night, even with your wife. It's all ways about other people. And so the movement, and this is actually my second book, it's called the 137 Theory. I'm going to talk about this. It's about learning how to put yourself on that calendar first, because just like when you fly in the airplane, they tell you if you have a kid with you, you put your mask on first so you can take care of the kid. In order to be a great husband, a great parent, a great realtor for your clients, you have to take care of you first. And so what I do with my schedule is I make myself a priority, Dave. So we're in the process now. We're about to start working on our schedule for 2026. First thing I do is cross out my birthday. August 13th, I ain't working. That's my day. I put all my vacations on there. Those are my days. And then I cross off every single Monday, Dave. I don't work on Mondays. I am not available because I have an appointment. That appointment just happens to be with me, Dave. Mondays, I wake up, grab my camera, grab my cigars, and I'm hiking in somebody's woods, taking pictures, unplugging. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm an introvert. I'm pouring into people and doing trainings all week. Monday is my time to recharge. And so I really am a big proponent of agents learning how to carve out some time. They don't have to follow the 137. They don't have to take a full day off. Can you give yourself an afternoon? Hell, can you give yourself an hour to turn the phone off, go to a coffee shop and read a chapter in one of your favorite books? We get so busy thinking we have to be available 24/7 for our clients that we aren't showing up for us. And that is not sustainable.
No, it's not. It's not. So you take Mondays off. Tell me what else you do.
I take a 3-day weekend once a month. I take 7 days off a quarter. And if you follow me, you know I do this. I don't just say I do it.
No, you really do.
On my thing. And here's the thing. I make more money doing that. I take time off.
You make more money taking time off, Dave? Tell us about that.
Well, think about it, Dave. Every time you got a vacation plan, don't you get all these opportunities popping up every time you're about to go on vacation? You do.
Yes, you do.
So imagine if you took more vacations, probably more opportunities be popping up, right? So
that's great logic.
137 and people know I'm gone for a week. People are like, hey, Dave, I got this opportunity. I'm like, great. I'm just not available that week, but here's when I'm available. And opportunities come because when I recharge, I'm ready to come back and I can pour into you. I'm not exhausting all my resources. I am recharging so I can come back and do a better job to help you. I'm no good to you if I'm not good. And I just don't know why we don't make ourselves a priority. It's unfortunate.
I think it's the history of this business, right? Where where everybody has said for years and years, well, I'm available 24/7. And I say, you're a moron.
Yep.
What I tell people is really simple, Dave. I am my business is all about, hold on one second. My business is all about helping people, and I got to help me first. So my days are Friday afternoons, right?
Good.
After this broadcast, I finish what I'm doing, right? Finish up. I have a meeting right after this broadcast. And today I actually have a session I have to do, but right after that, I'm done, right? People know where they can find me. It's going to be grass underneath me with this little white or green ball, and that's what I'm doing. Friday afternoons and mostly Saturday mornings, right? That's what I'm doing because that's what makes me happy. Once I start doing that, I got nothing else. Look, if it's an emergency, I'm going to pick up the phone for you. I don't care if I'm in the middle of a putt. I'm going to pick up the phone for you. I will do that. But there's never such a thing as an emergency in our business. Never. I don't think anyone's ever died from a real estate transaction. So being available 24/7 and you pick up the phone 11 o'clock at night, shame on you.
I say shame on you. And you're not really showing people you're a professional, because let me tell you what, if I could call my doctor all day and my lawyer all day and they would answer the call, I'm like, well, what are you doing? What am I paying you for? If you're always available to pick up the phone, are you really working? And when you're saying yes to those phone calls, who are you saying no to? I had to learn this, Dave, because I have young daughters. And when I would come in the house at 7 o'clock at night and I'm on the phone and they want to tell me about their day, I'm telling them this client is more important than you. I'm not saying it, but through my actions, I'm showing them that being on the phone is more important than being with them. And they take that to heart. So your voicemail should be, hey, it's David. If it's after 7 o'clock, I'll return the call the following business day. If it's an emergency, send me a text. You decide if you call them back. You're a professional, have professional working hours. We teach people how to treat us is the easiest way to say it, right?
We absolutely do. We absolutely do. And bringing this full circle, I mean, when you do this, when you do these things for yourself and you set your own schedule and you're telling people, look, I'm not going to be available for that. Or you tell people, look, people have this fear, right? They have this fear that they're going to miss a deal. There are agents out there, David, and you know this as well as I do, where they won't tell anybody they're going away on vacation. They won't post anything that they're in the Bahamas or they're on the beach or they're having fun. Hey, damn it, you guys are human beings. You're allowed to have fun. And if someone doesn't want to work with you because you're on vacation, I don't want to work with them.
I don't want to work with you. We lead generate so we don't have to tolerate the people we don't want to work with. If they don't respect, we work hard and we should have time off, then I'm going to go find somebody else that I can work with that will understand the way I like to live my life. Period.
So the most important thing you just said, right? It's just like your daily lead generation solves all problems.
All problems.
All problems. I mean, you need more money, solves the problems. You want to go on vacation, solves the problem.
Yep.
You want to grow a team, solves the problem.
Yep.
Right? Just like when I was a broker owner, my coach John Cheplack would tell me, Dave, recruiting solves all problems. Right? And he's right. It's the same, and that's lead generation. It's the same freaking thing. Hey man, if you were going to talk to promote your book, if you're going to say go out and buy my book, what would be a couple of reasons why people should read your book?
The main reason you should read this book is it will help you get to know me and the type of coach I am and why I pour into people and push them so hard to understand what their why is. And when you see why I push people so hard and you start digging into your why, it's going to make you show up differently. I mean, Dave, it's not just a book you read. I mean, you read it. You know, there's exercises at the end where I force you to sit down and write out your why and figure out what it is. This book is not just for infotainment. It's for you to self-discover what's been holding you back. What is your why? Okay, once you have it figured out, what's your vision board? What do you want to accomplish? Go make the vision board. Go do the things. Don't just say that's a good book and then put it on the shelf like we do with most.
Okay. All right. So vision board. Okay. So I want to talk about that. And talk to me about your vision board and is it effective?
Well, let me tell you this. You see all these images behind me?
Yep.
I had pictures up of going to Africa for years, and I kept looking at that. And every day when I didn't want to do the work, I kept doing the work. And I took this magnificent trip. It keeps your dreams in front of you. And so for me, the way it was effective to me was those days when I would walk in, I'm like, I don't really want to make these calls, but I'm looking at this trip, or I'm looking at this Louis Vuitton bag I want to buy for my wife, or I'm looking at the investment property I want to buy. It's like, hey, every day I have a choice. If those things are really important to me and I want to do those and accomplish those things, I got to do this work. So having it in your face, and Dave, what I started doing that I feel is even more effective because we lead gen, I made my vision board on Canva and I formatted it, and it's a background to my phone. So when I'm picking up the phone to make calls, I'm constantly looking at the things that I know are the most important things that I want to accomplish. And it's a constant reminder that the only way to get this is to show up and do the work, no matter how I feel, no matter if that person cursed me out last week, I still need to do my follow-up this week because I want to be here, right?
Okay, so I got to ask you something else. I got to ask you something along with everything we talked about. It might not be in flow here, but I don't care. So you have people that wake up every day, real estate agents, they go to the gym.
Yeah.
They go to the gym 5 to 7 days a week. They're there at the gym. It's their religion. They do it. They get up, they go, right? And then when it comes to prospecting, they just sit there and stare at the phone. How can you equate one to the other?
Well, I don't know if I'm taking this where you want to go. Let me just say this.
I don't care. You take it where you want to go.
That type of, I train people how to call for sale by owners and expires because that's what I did. It doesn't mean that's what you have to do. If your jam is working out or golfing like you, then Dave, what I'm going to do is get me some gear that has my company name on it and a shirt that says, ask me about real estate. And I'm going to prospect at the gym. I'm going to prospect when I'm out there on the green. I'm going to invite people to play golf with me. And that's going to be my prospecting and my lead gen. It doesn't have to be what everyone else is doing. You get in your lane, you figure out what you love, what you're passionate about. All those people at the gym, guess what? They live in a house. All the people who play golf, they live in a house. So talk to them. That becomes your prospecting, right?
Absolutely. I'm going to give you an example of that worked for me, right? So as you know, I love to play golf. I talked about it a little bit, and I actually joined a league this year, right in the middle of the year, and I played one, and the next time it's about 50 guys, right? And they split that all. They all want everybody to play with everybody throughout the year. So I had met this guy for probably 10 minutes the week before, and I've got the hat in my hand, and I'm going to talk about that. But I wore my hat every time I go out on the course, right? It says RE Skill Builder and it has my team name logo on the side. And I wear that all the time. I barely even talk to this guy. On the first tee, we're introducing each other. And this guy goes, you need anything with real estate? You talk to Dave. He's the man.
There we go.
I didn't even know this guy.
There we go.
All right. And that's how that works. I have a t-shirt I used to wear at the gym. Ask me about real estate. You just said it. I mean, that's I mean, you've gotten business from it. I've gotten business from it. You know,
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
It just is something that you have to do. And just go back to the old days, right? When I first became a broker owner, there was this thing that Century 21 had called a gold jacket, right? I mean, they tried to bring it back in the early 2000s, but that was a manipulative mistake. But anyway, when people wore the gold jacket in the 80s, they knew you were in real estate.
Yes.
They knew they could talk to you about real estate.
Yes.
So I'm going to flip that on its side and just say, look, if you get a badge that says your name and your company name, it's a real estate company, wear that every day. Wear it every day. Everywhere you go, people will ask you about real estate.
Don't just wear it every day, Dave. Wear it every day and have fun with it. Flip it upside down so people can be like, hey, your name tag, because they're trying to read your name and they can't read it. Oh, your name
100%.
tag. Oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm in real estate, blah, 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 and start the conversation, right? And sometimes people, Dave, I don't know if you do this, but if I see somebody in the store and I recognize them, but I can't remember their name, I avoid them because I feel bad I don't know their name.
Yeah.
Everybody wore a name tag. And so if you're an agent, you have a name tag up, they can be like, oh, hey, Dave. And it helps them come and approach you. Sometimes they avoid you because they don't remember your name.
Yeah. And for me, I'm to use golf course again. I couldn't remember people's names. I play with 3 other people. I write their names down on the scorecard so I know who they are. And now I don't have to do that because I'm associating their names with other things, yes. AKA what I mean, just Limitless by Jim Quick, right?
Right.
He'll teach you that anyway, man, this has been amazing. We go on forever. I want to thank you so much for being on this broadcast and sharing your knowledge and the book. I want it more than I fear it. We had the link up before. The link is scrolling on the bottom, prospecttosuccess.com/I want it more than I fear it. Please go there, go do that. Go to davidradneypush.com to find out more about David and what he offers. Go to his script practice. When you go to the website, you're going to get all this information. When you buy the book, all the information's in there, even QR codes. It's really absolutely amazing. David, thank you so much for being on. I got two things and then we're done. Number one thing and the most important question that I can ask you today is, how can I help you grow your business?
By spreading the word, telling people about the book, telling people about me, and telling them to check me out. I'm this person where I don't hit people up like, sign up for my coaching. I want you to get to know me, get to trust me. There's social proof where I'm not just one of these coaches saying, hey, I can take you from here to here. You come and you start paying attention, you'll see all the people I've taken from here to here. And I want you to have some social proof. So just invite people to come in and just pay attention and be in the room and be part of the conversation, and things will figure themselves out. Because my whole attitude is, if I can help you get what you want, I'm always going to get what I want.
That's called value. David, thank you so much for being on. Of course, since you've been quite a veteran of this broadcast, we're going to the special edition gray hat for you for this time. We're going to send this out to you next week. If you would put it on the screen for me, Nelson, next week we have Austin Chevron coming on. He is the founder of Chevron Coaching. He is also an EXP Elite coach. We're going to have him on. We're going to share his knowledge. He is so excited. He talks more about people than he does about finances, and it's really going to be awesome. Hey, David, stay with us as we go off. Everybody, thank you so much. God bless you. Happy holidays to everybody out there, and we'll see you next week with Austin. Hit it.